A report by the charity Oxfam says Israel is blocking aid to Gaza in spite of a ruling by the International Court of Justice. In January, the court told Israel it cannot continue to bombard, displace, and starve the population under its obligations to the Genocide Convention. The Oxfam report says the international community has failed to challenge Israel for systemically undermining aid deliveries, and that Israel has made bringing in aid so dangerous and dysfunctional that agencies cannot respond to the scale of suffering. Let's bring in Hassan Barari, Professor of International Affairs at Qatar University. Hassan, the first thing that jumps out to me when I read that report is, once again, making crystal clear that Israel, with the way it's behaving with humanitarian aid, not allowing it in at the pace and volume that it is needed, is in flagrant violation of international law. It's not just the ruling of the International Court of Justice, as Oxfam points out. It's also UN Security Council resolution back in December.
Yeah, well, this is an indication that the Israeli government doesn't give any attention to these, or the Security Council or even the international law. As long as they can continue the one they want, the pace they want, I mean, they don't care. I mean, this is obvious. It has been proved time and again that the Israelis have one strategy is to undermine the aid to the Palestinians in order to bring them to the brink of famine so that they will probably leave Gaza. And the scenario put by the Israelis from the get-go is to kick the Palestinians out of Gaza. I think this is part of the strategy.
Of course, they deny that.
What they do, of course. They will not come like in public say, yes, we want to expel the Palestinians.
Well, some have. Some far-right members of the Israeli cabinet have, I believe it was Smotrich, who has invited, I believe were the words using, invited Gazans to use opportunities to leave Gaza.
Not only Smotrich, and even Gallant, the Minister of Defense at the very beginning, he said, you know, you guys can leave. No electricity, no water, nothing. I mean, he was like threatening them that, you know, Gaza will not be a place for you to live. So this is the strategy of the Israelis. I think we have to look at the broader image here. The demographic balance. I mean, probably one of the hidden agenda of the Israelis is to make the Palestinians less and less in this area that stretch between the Mediterranean and the river, because as you know now, the Palestinians are more. So the majority of the Palestinians, so they want to be, the Israelis want to make them the minority. Maybe this is also part of a broader strategy. Denying them food and water, sugar and flowers is also, you know, is to kick them out of Gaza. I think this is a strategy.
I wonder what you think of the convoy of trucks that we just showed. So it's the second day that we see a convoy of trucks. Not that many. We're talking about 19 yesterday, 12 the day before. Trucks carrying flour, other essential items from southern Gaza to the north, and it's the first time in months that there haven't been any incidents, because previously we've seen them be attacked pretty systematically. What do you make of this? Is this a Band-Aid, just good for optics? It's maybe in Israel's interest to allow this, or is this a blueprint perhaps for increasing aid to the north?
I wouldn't see it as a blueprint. I would say that it shows one thing, that it's doable if the Israelis allow this, so there's nothing can impede it other than the Israeli bombardment. This is one thing. Secondly, it's a drop in the bucket, so it's really not much. It won't make a huge difference. The only way is to have...
So why is it happening?
Why? The Israelis, you know, I think they're responding a little bit to the American pressure, because the Americans have been saying, you know, the Israelis should allow, and even the Senate majority leaders, Chuck Schumer, yeah, he was saying, you know, Netanyahu needs to step down. So I think there are a lot of pressures coming from the Americans, and this is a way of mitigating the pressures, appearing as if Israel is doing its best in order to make their lives easier. But I think this is a drop in the bucket, and it won't make a huge difference.
So mostly for the optics, then, in your view.
Yeah.
All aid agencies say that in order to surge aid to the Palestinians, surge aid into Gaza, there needs to be a ceasefire. It so happens that ceasefire negotiations will resume today in Doha. Do you see that? Do you see a ceasefire as a possibility as a result of these negotiations?
It is, of course. I mean, it depends on the Israelis.
Well, you say of course, but we've seen them break down so many times.
I'm saying it's a possibility, but I'm not saying that's going to happen simply because the Israelis have their own conditions, and they want only the first stage of the deal, whereas Hamas wants 3 stages.
Yeah.
So I think there are a lot of disagreement among them. I think if the mediators can iron out these differences and come up with a common ground, probably we're going to see a ceasefire, a temporary one, at least a temporary one.
Well, my question is more, do you believe in a ceasefire anytime soon? Because we've seen these negotiations, we've seen optimism expressed sometimes by the U.S., sometimes by Qatari mediators, although not in a long time, and then they've all broken down.
I can see a temporary one, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Temporary.
Yeah, of course, temporary, because the Israelis need to continue the war, because this is also a domestic need for Netanyahu. It's not only he wants to defeat Hamas, it's about his own political survival. So putting an end to the conflict right now and have a permanent ceasefire would probably be the final nail in his political coffin.
Hassan Bouari, thank you very much for joining us in the studio this hour. Thank you.
Sure.